was going to say Gilmore.
That's okay. I was wondering what you were going with. Let's chat.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for having me here as well.
Happy to have you at your own venue. Okay, also another amazing plant.
Yeah.
That's such a pretty plant.
A lot of good plants. I didn't do those, but it's okay.
Is this the coffee lady? Is she a plant lady?
Kathy is she is a plant lady.
This is amazing. This place is wild. So this place is called the Daily Brew House.
The Daily Brew Coffee House and Lounge.
The
Technically is the name. We are in the lounge right now.
Okay.
Cape Cod's newest music venue, listening room.
This is unbelievable.
It's pretty crazy, man.
Okay, so it kind of seems like this is something you sort of fell into, but it's also like one of those things where it's also feels like you've been moving towards it forever.
Yeah. And if you know, like, I've been talking about something like this probably for a decade, and yeah, I did kind of fall into it, but like, it's like when luck meets preparation,
Yes, so, totally.
And, it's just I've always kind of put myself out there, and a lot of friends think very similar. Mm-hmm. And my friend Kathy, we've been talking for years about something like this, and this place came up for sale, and she used to work here when she was like a teenager.
Cool.
And she made an offer, and they took it, and it all kind of happened, and here we are.
Man, so when did you where are we? We're like end of June right now. So when did you get the idea that you might be having a big role here?
Pretty much when they bought it I think it was like last October, November, okay. They made an offer. So it's been on my radar for a while, but I try not to get too excited about stuff until it kind of starts to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I've been burned before. Mm-hmm. So really, like in the beginning of May, like basically mm-hmm. May 1st, my 40th birthday.
Cool.
I basically started in here.
Amazing. I feel that way too about projects and being an entrepreneur. It's like, I feel like I'm just like planting seeds everywhere constantly.
Yeah.
Like if the amount of leads I initiated actually came through, I'd be screwed.
Right, exactly. And also you don't even know you're doing it because like so much of this stuff is built on relationships and being a musician and just meeting different musicians around. It's just like somebody will pop up and all of a sudden they're in your life and it's like, oh, we need a band and mm-hmm. I should call this guy. It's just like it's networking, but not in like the like kind of cringy part of it, Right. It's like much more like organic.
I feel like networking is a nightmare when you move to a new place, mm-hmm. which is something you did.
Yeah.
But
a new old place, yeah.
Yeah, but when you're living somewhere you kind of like always grew up, you sort of naturally end up with those types of opportunities. So there's the coffee house that's running, so people can come up, get their coffee, hang out in here.
Yes.
And then are you're already doing live music like during the coffee hours?
So we're just doing jazz Sundays right now, just from 11 to 2. We're waiting on our liquor license. So the goal was basically get in here and do our renovation and get open and start serving coffee.
Great.
We did that in like 3 or 4 weeks, which is insane. I worked around the clock nonstop. And so did a bunch of other people, and so we did that, and then we knew we'd get open before we got our liquor license. And then basically July 11th is when we're going to start doing live music at night. And,
amazing.
Yeah. And we're going to start doing that Thursday, Friday, Saturdays until the fall. Then we'll probably throw Wednesdays in. Then we'll have a couple one-offs. We're kind of figuring that out as we go.
So cool. So your woodworking shop, Narrowland.
Yes.
Woodworking. You were doing a little bit of like private shows for, you know, like friends and family, community. Yeah. I remember going to more than one, but I think at least one. And like your landlord was there too. He was in on the good times.
Yeah, we had my album release show there last September. And we had 250 people show up. And that was one of the inspirations behind me wanting to open a venue, because it's a wood shop. So I had to move everything around and set up. It took a day to set up and a day to break down. And I was like, I need a dedicated space for this. And clearly people want this because the people were showing up, you know. So,
right.
So that was, you know, part of the, you know, planting the seed for all this stuff. And
well, then also you started also a little like private dinner club in your backyard.
Oh, yeah. I can't sit still.
I mean, I'm the same way. Like I also have like so many jobs.
I love to cook and I love to. Well, I love bringing people together, and that's through music and cooking, and I got really into furniture building and started my own business almost 10 years ago. This is the 9th year of Nairland Woodworks, which is crazy. I've been working for myself for that long, and I just like sharing stuff with people, you know, and and I can't sit still for long, so. Right now, I kind of have 3 jobs, maybe 4 jobs.
Well, I mean, because you can't even start counting all your different clients, because especially where you're taking custom furniture jobs or installation projects for people with woodworking, it's like you almost have to like just put all of woodworking in a category.
Totally.
And then music career in another category, and now running a venue. So like 3, and then like just don't ever start counting your clients, because I think you'll freak out.
No, yeah, totally. And my email, like my computer's just like hot because I get so many like emails all the time. But I will say, like in the summertime, I do kind of back off some of the woodworking stuff, and focus more on music, and you know, because we're on Cape Cod, so there's a lot of places to play, and but it's funny. It's just like. All 3 of those things are doing well right now, you know, like my music career is doing well. I just got asked to open for Nathaniel Rateliff, which is crazy.
Yay!
You know, so
that's great.
Yeah. And
where is that going to be?
That's on the Vineyard. That's sold out in like 8 hours or something.
Of course.
Yeah. And probably because they added me to it, but
naturally. He's probably not a local.
No.
You're the local billing.
I guess so.
That's awesome. It's great to just have like a reason to go spend some time on the vineyard too, like for a gig.
Yeah, definitely. So,
man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been like,
isn't it crazy?
I've literally the last like 3-4 months have probably been the busiest I've ever been in my life. I did that tour with this band called the Steel Wheels out of Virginia, 2-week tour all through the Midwest, and then I came back and I built some stores for the Black Dog, which I built a lot of their stuff.
Yes.
I built 3 stores for them, and then I jumped right into this. And
so,
it's like,
how long have you been working for the Black Dog for?
I've been building it's probably 5 years, maybe.
Because that seemed like that was a huge client, and I feel like that's been a big unlock for me. Like if I get one big client, then I start getting to be choosy about all of my one-off projects.
Yeah, Black Dog was great because they were like kind of my kind of safety net. There was always a couple stores a year that we would do where I knew they were kind of coming down the line at some point, you know, so I could kind of budget and like it kind of, you know, I was able to. Yeah, I guess just budget and kind of plan a little better than I ever had before, you know. And that's still we're a little slower. We always slow down this time of year. I don't do much work for them in the summer because that's when all their stores are open.
Exactly.
And but there's still, you know, I still did 3 build outs in March and April, you know. So.
Were those local?
One was in Delaware, Rehoboth Beach, so I drove down there for 2 days and built that place. And then the other 2 were local. One was in Provincetown, and one was on Nantucket. So those were both pretty small stores.
So you're doing most of the work at your shop, and then transporting.
Yeah, or I build all the stuff for them and then ship it down. And then I either like fly down or drive down to wherever it is and install for a few days and then come back.
This is crazy.
Treat myself to a nice dinner and then I leave. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. This is so great. So, so when you're building out a store like that, you're doing shelving, counters, walls, floors, like everything, or is it different every project?
There's usually a contractor. So what I do the fitting. So basically, I build like all the furniture essentially. So they get to place where it's like a vanilla shell, they call it. Mm-hmm. So it's basically an empty clean room with flooring and painted walls, and then I come in and I install everything.
Wow. Okay.
So
just to like reset for anyone just joining us on Let's Chat Creative Pathways Podcast. That's my URL. So I'm doing this because I'm trying to create a database for my students as an arts outreach educational programming person. I'm always telling people like there are so many ways to be a creative in this life.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to sort of document all the different ways. And one of the things that I love exploring with people is early exposure. And I know you grew up doing woodworking with your dad.
Yeah, it's kind of basic carpentry.
But before that, you were watching him do it. So like, did you must have had a shop in the house growing up?
My dad always had a little basement shop or garage shop. You know, I always loved tools. I learned how to use tools pretty young. Just, you know, odds and ends, you know, and then I was also like always building forts in the woods and like I was just making stuff, you know, and then I found, guitar and I started writing songs, and it's like, I've just always created stuff, you know?
Yeah. So, what was your musical influence at home? Do either of your parents play guitar but
no.
They're playing a lot of music?
They would listen to a lot of music.
Yeah.
You know, so like, growing up, my dad really loved like Grateful Dead and Allman Brothers, and he also loved the Rolling Stones and just kind of more the rock and roll stuff, I guess. And then my mom was really into like Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen and Joni Mitchell, much more on the like lyrical side.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was always that stuff was always around. I didn't realize that I really liked that until later. A lot of that stuff, you know, like there's certain stuff I really liked. My brother is 8 years older than me, so when I was, I don't know, 7 years old, it's like when like grunge was really hitting, you know. So like he had all your Nirvanas and Pearl Jams and all that stuff, so I got a lot of that. He had all the tapes, and I used to make piles of tapes, like the stuff I liked. I used to listen to all of it, everything he had.
And how was he with that?
Oh, he was fine. He doesn't give a shit about anything.
That's great. He's good at sharing.
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh my gosh, I remember my sister's 3 years older than me, and I remember I'd have to wait till she was gone so I could steal her Green Day Dookie album to listen to.
That was the pivotal album for me. Like,
was it?
That album came out when I was like, 9 years old, 94. And that was unlike anything I had ever heard before.
Yeah.
And
the album cover
was
itself,
the best.
I was just like, are you kidding me? This seems like it's illegal.
Yeah, and that's like why I started playing guitar, basically, from that album. And for the first, I don't know, 6 years of playing guitar, it was just basically Green Day ripoffs, you know? Like, those were my bands, you know?
So that's what kind of pushed you towards more like punk style.
Rock,
That's kind of where you started. And you still play with people you've played for or with forever, like Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby I've been playing with since I was 12 years old, and he's been in most of the bands I've ever been in. Even when I lived in Texas, he moved down for a little bit, and he joined my band for a little while down there. And then when I moved back up here in 2017, he was the first person I called, and I just played with him on Saturday.
That's great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So the two of you guys are like 16 and just trying to bang something out, trying to make something sound like something.
Just having fun, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing about Bobby is he's always been a good drummer, even like when he was, 14 years old or something, like he was just ripping around, He comes from a pretty musical family. And it just, a lot of it came pretty natural to him, so it's been like if I could pick any drummer in the world to be in my band, it would be him, because like we have like a sixth sense with each other, you know, which is great.
I know.
It's so
Is
funny.
telepathy real?
Yes.
Sometimes I think you like really do get in that groove with some people.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good person to
definitely.
be making stuff with.
Yeah, totally. You know, it's the best. That's a cool thing about music. It's a whole different language. It's like how you know, like you can be playing with 5 different people and one person will do something and it's like a school of fish. You know, it's just like everybody just kind of like moves with it or something, you know, like it's really cool. It's one of my favorite parts about music is the community part of it, is like someone coming up and sitting in with you and you're making something that's never been made, and then maybe it'll never be played that way again. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah, maybe that's some of the draw for people to just go see the exact same band 1,000 times every time they come around.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little different every time.
I've seen a lot of bands many times, and you know, there's some nights they're like amazing, some nights they're not great, some nights it blows you away, you know. So it's like, I don't know, it's really cool.
So how do you get from high school? Are you doing like arts, music stuff in school, or you're just like trying to get through school so you can do stuff later?
I was just trying to get through school with no plan.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like trying to get through school. Like I had no like, I got to do this so I can do this.
Yeah.
All I could think about is get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's the way I was in like high school.
Yeah. I have too many other side businesses to start.
I know. Like I had no like plan, you know?
Yeah.
And I just knew I liked playing music, and I felt like I kind of belonged in that world a bit, you know? And then but then I ended up going to college with no plan, and I didn't like school, so I didn't know why I even went to college.
Where were you? Were you like in New Hampshire or something?
Yeah, I went to Keene State, and then after a year and a half, I dropped out because I just stopped going to classes.
Yeah, good call.
But like I love learning.
I mean, no harm to Keene State. I just mean like, how many of us just keep pushing through and taking classes and then have tons of debt for no reason?
Right. Like I have no debt. I never did. You know, I had maybe $6,000 and I paid it off years ago, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so like, it's funny because I like would just not go to my classes, but I loved learning stuff. So I would like go into other classes, like art history classes and stuff, and just sit in the back and then like, just like listen, you know? And there would be like some music classes and things like that. And, you know, like the big ones, I could kind of get in there and just kind of sit there and listen. Cause I remember
I did that in an astronomy class once.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Cause like, I don't know, like I had no like direction, you know, I had no idea why I was there. You know, I was just like drinking with my buddies, you know, and then I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, I could just move to Providence.
Yeah, exactly. So we met when we were 20, so 2 decades ago.
Yeah, that's true.
So crazy because we couldn't go to bars yet because we were underage.
And we lived in the same building.
Yeah, we were neighbors. And what brought you there? Like, why? I must know this. How did you end up in Providence?
Well, I was playing in a band, still kind of punky stuff, and I was playing in Providence a little bit. I met some girl and started hanging out with her a little bit. That didn't last long. It lasted maybe 5 months or something. And then, but her best friend was dating this kid, Pete Murphy, who was our mutual friend. Pete. And me and Pete both needed, like, I was like, I think I'm going to move here. And Pete needed a roommate. So we just basically, we moved in together, and then we just we've been friends ever since.
Yeah,
like,
you guys
awesome.
When I met you guys, you must have only known each other for a short time.
We all basically met each other at the same time. Like,
it's so funny because in my mind, you and Pete were like brothers for.
Yeah, no, I hung out with him like maybe 3 times, and I was like, "You're looking for a place, right?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, let's do it." And the place,
so funny.
It was $300 a month, each. You know, it was a shithole. Well, no, actually, the place wasn't so bad, but it was in a shitty neighborhood.
It wasn't a tough neighborhood. I was almost abducted once.
Oh, God.
I mean, maybe not. Like, maybe the guy was just fucking with me, but I was, like, walking down the sidewalk and...
I think I kind of remember this.
Yes, because I ended up running home at some point and was just like...
Yeah.
Like,
I remember Pete, it was really cold out, and Pete went downstairs and left his car running. And he looked out the window and someone was in it about to back away. Woo. And he, like, ran down and they ran off.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, I think of Providence as kind of my college years. You know what I mean? Like, I met a lot of great people.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing in a band at the time, but it was kind of when I started writing songs in like the more solo acoustic stuff. It's kind of like when Deer Tick was getting started, and one of my first shows was with them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it was just kind of...
I think they're playing at Levitate soon.
They are, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we should go.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like I was around a lot of artists and a lot of musicians, and seeing a lot of shows. There was a lot of underground punk rock shows in warehouses.
Like noise, like art noise.
Yeah.
It's like the RISD kids just like banging on things.
Yeah, definitely.
But like with a really good light show.
Right. Yes. And some of that was obnoxious, but some of it was amazing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Some of those parties, man, like some of the warehouse parties, it was just like, just this whole vibe of everyone.
You'd walk into an old warehouse.
Yeah.
And you'd walk down like a long hallway with like one flickering light at the end. And then you'd open a door and there'd be like 300 people in there, and a band and a half pipe and like, it was like...
Well, and the thing is, too, that it really is a very small city, Providence. Yeah. So it's funny now, if I'm meeting someone and if we cross paths within, 5 years of each other in Providence, like you can start describing like some of the art that was on the wall, or like, they were at that exact show.
Definitely. Or like what venue, like the living room being open.
Yeah, like everyone was going to... Which is part of the reason that it felt so good to leave. Yeah. Because I'm like, I can't escape any of these people.
We knew everybody at one point.
Yeah, way too small town.
Yeah. Which was good. I kind of felt like college for me was like a stepping stone. And then Providence was like a stepping stone. Yeah. And then I moved to Boston, and that felt more like oh man, now we're in a city. You know what I mean? Like Providence felt like a kind of a small town.
Yes.
But when I eventually moved to Boston after Providence, which you did too, right?
I didn't. I went to college in Boston, so I moved to Quincy.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, so I was in Boston and going to school. Yeah. I was like taking the train into school, and same thing. It was like there was just so many different things going on there compared to Providence.
Yeah, and there was a lot of different scenes. Like I remember like seeing, like I kind of got into like the folk scene a little bit in like Cambridge, like the Lizard Lounge and Passim and the Burren and Somerville, like that whole world. But then like you'd go to like another place and they're like JP at like a Midway Cafe or something, and it'd be a whole different group of bands and a whole different group of people, and like so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then during the day, I always worked. I always did carpentry or something, so I worked for somebody when I was there.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I just kind of got burnt out from Boston after a while. And I was like, I think I need to make a big move, know. And me and my girlfriend at the time moved to Austin, Texas, because I was like, this is where I want to be if I'm going to be a songwriter and play music. And I'd never been there, and I just drove there.
What year was this?
2011.
Oh my God!
And then I was there for 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jeff and I almost followed you there.
I know.
So 2011, that's when I graduated college. Right. So same thing. I was like, okay, I'm done with Boston.
Yeah.
What's next? And we actually we came out, we were able to crash at your place, get a sense of the city. And I will never forget that visit, like going around, checking out some different venues. And, you'd go into this one little bar and it's like the best music you've ever heard in your life. And then I remember you just trying to be like, all right, guys, we got to like go to the next thing.
You're like,
we're going to the next thing. What are you talking about? And then you go to the next one and it's even better. Yeah. And it's like,
and then in the back of every one of those places was an awesome food truck, and you're eating like the best friggin' food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really kind of special time in Austin at the time. It was, like the east side was starting to kind of get, well, gentrified really, which unfortunately, but it was like all these little places were kind of popping up, and for low money, like my buddy of mine opened the White Horse, which now is like an Austin staple.
Cool.
And he just like rolled the dice and somehow got this place. It was kind of a shithole, but it was awesome, had a lot of character, and they ended up like, now if you open like a like, what is it, Wandering Planet or something, like an Austin tour guide book.
Oh.
They're like one of the places you have to go check out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts,
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, and I was thinking as a visual artist, I'm like, well, artists travel in packs. So this is a music scene that's booming.
Yeah.
So I bet visual artists are going to follow.
And chefs.
And chefs, yes, and food.
Yeah, so it's like the cheap places you always have, you have, people in their late 20s or something who are like just like going for broke and just trying something out,
right.
And it's like the best. It's the most exciting thing. And, you go to a lot of cities and it just feels like the homogenization of America, where it's like just every place is starting to feel like the same place. There's still always those pockets of places, but it is, it's always, it's like the place dies or it was never good, and it's like your musicians, your artists, your chefs move in. People start to notice. Then usually gay people come and paint everything.
They paint everything.
And it looks really nice. And
everything gets a rainbow splash.
And then your Chipotles and things start coming in.
They're like, oh, hey.
And then
thank you all for priming this little economic
and
region
then it gets too expensive for any of the artists to live there. And then they all move out.
Yeah.
And then it's not cool anymore. And then it dies. And it's just a complete circle.
I know. It really is. You really were there at a crazy time in Austin. I know it's still growing, but it must have been wild to be there as far as just like really having to be on your game. Because I feel like even if you can get an open mic spot somewhere, like it's everyone who's been practicing for this moment their whole lives. Like, you can't phone it in.
I will say, like, one of the biggest things that when I moved to Austin, I definitely had a kind of, not attitude change, but like open to whatever, So like, I'm just like, I'm going to just put myself out there. Like, it was a really big, like I was 5 or 6 maybe when I moved there. And like, I had a buddy in West Virginia, and he was like, oh, you should look up this guy, my friend down there. And, a lot of people would be like, all right, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm not going to do that, And I reached out to him, my buddy Gene. And
I almost was like, Gene?
Yeah. And
I should have said it.
And
I'm going to edit that.
And I was like, hey, like, I'm buddies of Tucker, my buddy in West Virginia, and they knew each other from South by Southwest. And, I'm from the Boston area. Tucker said to reach out, and basically there was like a cookout with like 30, 40 people there. And he introduced me to all these people, all musicians. And a lot of them are good friends of mine today.
So cool.
And it's like, it's just kind of being out of your comfort zone and just like, just kind of going with the flow. And it's I don't like the word networking because I don't feel like it's networking.
It's community building.
It's community building, yeah. And so like that's something I just continue. And say what you want about Texas, it's like politically and things like that, which I don't agree with a lot of that. But it's people do let you in with open arms. Like people are kind. They're not like they don't shut you out.
Yeah, we're so guarded in the Northeast.
It's funny. It's because it's cold. We're just like shivering.
Yeah, such curmudgeons.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. And then it's
that's awesome. So you're really able to find community pretty quickly there. And like I was saying earlier, like that is one of the hardest things is if you're new somewhere.
Right.
You know, because otherwise it's just like you're talking to this person, that person, or whatever, and then people just find out you're interested in that, start offering you things.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, but a lot of it is getting out of that funk of like you got to put yourself out there. You know, it's like, you know, a lot of people say it's so hard to make friends, you know, in your 30s and your 40s. And I'm like, some of my best friends I made, you know, in my 30s or whatever, you know.
I can't stop making friends.
I know. I got a shitload of friends.
So many friends. I'm constantly making friends, but it's just like, I'm down to be friends with anyone.
I just like being around like-minded people, you know, and I will, if somebody is like, we should hang out sometime, I'm like, okay, when? Let's do it. You know, if I want to, you know what I mean? And so like, I'll follow up with that, you know, that stuff, you know, and be like, I don't know. And I think part of that is being accepted into the music community so much. Like musicians kind of have this like unspoken law about like, kind of like anybody can sleep on your fucking couch or whatever, you know, and it's like, it, you know, I don't know.
Well, with touring, you kind of get into that. So musicians really, if you want to tour, especially early in your career when you're young, you got to do that.
Definitely. And you're seeing different parts of the country and you're around different types of people, and it's just like, it just kind of opens things up a bit, you know. Like traveling anywhere, really, you know. But
I need to travel more. I need to get out. I don't get out.
Yeah, I haven't been.
But honestly, I'm so proud of myself for being here.
Yeah.
Right now, because
I
don't
40 minutes. That's good.
I don't like that is the fact that I'm 10 minutes
twice in the month, I think, because you came and interviewed Justin too.
And I was also so proud of myself then too. And it's like, this is okay. I'm creating my little database of creatives, but also it's like I 100% would have been stuck at home with 2 kids that aren't feeling great and like. Sorry, Jeff. I got something on the books. I'm out of here. And like, he's very supportive and great at that. But it's like, if I don't just get stuff on the calendar. So yeah, one of my new friends, like from the gym, we have a date on the books to hang out in August, which is like absurd. We don't even know what we're going to do.
That's
it's just
great.
Like,
that's awesome.
Let's do something. We'll figure it out. But
especially with kids, you do have to definitely kind of plan ahead a little more too. You know, like I don't have kids, and it's like, I don't know, people my age are just like, are you kidding me? Like, you can just do whatever you want. I'm like, I know. Basically.
I do think about that.
Yeah.
About how it's wild. And I also talk to parents who I won't name who are like, shit, I really didn't realize it was a choice to not have kids.
Right.
Like, you're just on this track, and all of a sudden you have
kids.
You
should just name them.
You know who you are.
That being said, I have a bunch of nieces and nephews, and all my siblings have kids, and I love them all, you know, but I also like, I just feel like for me, it's just, I don't know. There's nobody tells you that you don't have to have kids or anything.
I know.
You know?
Well,
it's kind of like why I went to college, and that was a mistake, you know, or I don't know if it was a mistake, but I went because I felt like I should.
Right.
And thank God I didn't do that with kids, you know, because I felt like I should, you know, it's like.
Well, I think it's important to have these conversations because it's like no shade to kids. Like, there are people who don't have kids who are not kid people, but like, you're someone who is a kid person. Like,
Louise, my niece, is my favorite person in the world.
Yeah, little Louisie.
Yeah, she's the best.
She's hilarious. Yeah, and that's the thing. But like, you can absolutely have tons of kids in your life without having them.
Yeah.
And then you have time for all of this creativity.
Definitely.
And all the jobs you do.
Yeah, that's why, you know, if I had kids, there's no way. Well, if I had kids, I probably would have ended up being some like foreman on some construction company.
Yeah.
With 401k and making X amount a year, and I would hate it. You know, nothing against that job or whoever does it. For me, that doesn't work. You know?
You'd be living for like the gigs you'd be playing on the weekend.
Yeah, or I'd probably get exhausted of doing both, and I probably wouldn't play music.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like, I just couldn't even imagine that. That's why
I know.
You know, I've really shaped my life pretty strategically. I feel like, you know, like, or I guess I know kind of what's important, you know, for me. You know, so.
That's a pretty big unlock.
And it took time, you know, like,
you
know, I just turned 40, I don't know, a month ago, and like, you know, I don't want to say it's like midlife crisis shit, but it's like, it's putting a lot of stuff in perspective, you know what I mean? And I'm very happy with where I am.
Yeah.
You know? So it's, well, your 40th is coming soon. Right?
I just turned 40.
Wait, what day?
On June 7th.
Oh, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
How do you feel about it?
Great.
It's great, right?
I'm obsessed.
And
I love aging. I feel like, okay, so I work with a bunch of old ladies. Well, a bunch of elders, if they're listening. Do you guys listen to this?
They can't figure out how to turn it on.
On Friday mornings. And I was saying this to them because I was telling them all it was my birthday. And I was like, I feel like just like every year I age, there's a little bit less bullshit because I know a little bit more what actually matters to me. And they were laughing at me. They're like, funny. Oh, girl, you don't know. Like, you are just a baby. You don't know anything. Just wait till you're 70 and then, but that's true. That's why, older and wiser.
But that's kind of a mindset, too, where a lot of people are mortified that they're 40.
I know. I don't understand.
Yeah, I know people who bring it up at every conversation, how old they are. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? I feel better than I've ever felt.
Yeah.
I feel like myself. I feel like I look halfway decent.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I don't know. I just I'm doing things I want to be doing. I'm living a very fruitful life. Still with my dog. So it's good.
Your child. But I think that's so true. It's like, it takes a long time to figure out what actually it is that you want.
Yeah.
So you just have to try lots of things. And then at some point, things start falling together. And I feel that way. I feel like I'm saying the same type of thing when I'm talking about like finding your artistic style. For me, obviously it's visual, but I think you could probably agree with like music. It's like you just play lots of different things. Just make lots of different types of art. And at the end of the day, it's all being filtered through you.
Yeah.
So at some point, if you're doing it enough and you're doing it a lot, at some point you start seeing the connecting thread of like, okay, where is the thing coming from me in this? And then you can lean into that.
Yeah.
It's like, so I have only worked really like totally for myself for the past couple years. I've always had either full-time or part-time jobs working for other places. And all of that experience has all been stuff that has helped me learn how to do what I'm doing now.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's interesting, like as a creative and an entrepreneur, I wouldn't have been able to do this right away. Like I had to work for lots of different people to figure it out.
Yeah, like age doesn't make you smarter, but it does grant you experience. Yeah. It does. You've experienced more, world events and things like that. We have a very interesting age where we know what it's like before the internet and after the internet. We're like split in half with that, and we've seen, and that's just experience. That doesn't mean we're any more qualified necessarily to speak about it, but it's like, but we have seen. We can make our own decisions or make our own opinions and stuff. And it's just like the longer you're alive, the more weird shit you see. And
the before times.
Yes, definitely.
I know I've seen some stuff online saying that there's parents who are now getting their kids landlines.
Oh, really?
People are bringing landlines back in to be like, no, I'm not getting you a cell phone.
Yeah.
But I understand your need for communication.
Definitely, yeah.
So, here we go. And I'm going to have another one of the landlines in my room, and I'm going to listen in like my parents probably did.
Or like pull it into the next room, under the door. Yeah.
I know.
I don't know what the answer is to any of that stuff. But it is interesting, the rejection of social media and of people being on their phones all day. It's like it is nice to see people kind of wanting to connect face-to-face more. And
well, I mean, that's where all my business comes from. So if anyone's listening to this who really is trying to get their creative career going or sort of like lean into that, I am doing some mentorship for a recent graduate from Montserrat College of Art, and she wants to get her Instagram going or something just to get herself out there. And it's like, I'm just using it as like a living portfolio.
Right.
So if you look at my Instagram, I am posting a lot, but it's just, I'll take a couple shots of whatever the job is I'm working on that day.
Right.
And so I'm active. People can see what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, my leads are coming from when I'm in person.
Right.
Places, when I'm actually out meeting people, when I'm taking classes. Like, I'll go take a class and be a student just to be in community with other people curious about the same type of thing. And then I think you mentioned earlier something about like working seasonally, and I think that is really huge too for figuring out how to, not really the online stuff, but just like managing different jobs. So, you know, people are buying a lot of pottery in November, December, not as much in July. So, but guess what? There's lots of summer camps and stuff running. So this time of year, I'm working as a visiting artist at different places, and then I'll lead back into the studio time.
I think the big thing is being able to pivot and recognizing opportunity and like, or you know, like just kind of, if you have a hard set goal and you're so dead set on that, it's really hard to accomplish that goal a lot of times because you have blinders on, you're not seeing other stuff. You know? So like when other stuff presents itself, sometimes it's like, well, maybe I'll go down this road for a little bit. And that does not necessarily mean you need to get completely off that other road. You know, it's just kind of being open to, you know, just different opportunities. Like right now I'm the music director here, and that kind of fell in my lap. And part of me is like, well, like my whole life may be changing right now as far as like my career, you know.
Right, your ability to just like go on a tour. Right? You're going to have to get like a number 2 music director or something for someone to take over for you.
Or like, you know, it's like I can do all the booking here in a few weeks for the season, and then maybe I can go on tour or something. You know, so it's like, or maybe I don't like, you know, maybe I don't want to go on tour. You know, it's like, it's just kind of, I don't know, just kind of taking it as it comes, and not like with lower expectations, you're never disappointed, you know. So it's like know
what, another thing that I think comes up for me is like work ethic too. So I know you're from a working class family, I'm from a working class family, so like the plan was always to be working really hard all the time. Like that's always the plan. So it's not a big risk for me if I am going to try to leap on some opportunity, because like I know I'm going to put the work in, and if it doesn't work out, whatever, I'll go just get a job at a grocery store.
See, that's the way I feel. It's like it's all going to be fine.
My worst case scenario is I'm waitressing again, which
granted, I don't have kids, so there's a little less responsibility. I can take some more chances, maybe. You know, because it's just me. But like, but I agree 100%. It's like if you have, people are constantly looking for the like get rich quick type thing, you know, and I just like everybody, most of my friends around here work for themselves, and they like my buddy Brian, who's a glass blower. He started doing that, you know, when he was like 20 years old, maybe earlier. He's 41, I think, and you know, over the last couple of years, he started becoming successful, you know, and like...
What's his last name?
Brian Randa. Randa Glass. You've met him before. He's one of my favorite people, and you know, but the thing is, like, you know, he's been getting, you know, he's like nationally recognized, and he makes amazing stuff. He's unbelievable at what he does, but even if none of that was true, he'd still be glass blowing. You know what I mean? Like, it's what he loves to do, you know? So it's like, if you are passionate about something, you know, like, it doesn't matter, like, you know, like monetizing it, you know, like necessarily, you know, like I'm going to always write songs, you know, whether I make money off of songs or not, you know, like I don't give a shit, you know?
It's just almost how like your brain processes information. And same thing for me. It's like, I'm going to be, I try to remind myself that sometimes when I'm making pottery, because, you know, I'm usually at this point in my career, I'm very grateful to be, when I'm on the wheel, I'm working on stuff that's either sold already, or it's like going to a specific show.
That's awesome.
I'm not just making randomly.
Yeah.
But that means that like stuff I need in my own home, I put on the back burner, and I'm like, no, I have to remind myself that if there was no pottery career, I'd still be making stuff for my own home.
Totally.
So I really try to like force myself to put my personal projects, just make one dinner plate for myself, you know, at the start of the studio session.
I gotta do that stuff too.
Well, for woodworking, I mean,
all this stuff.
Although you have some nice stuff that you've made for your home.
But that's when I wasn't busy, you know? So it's like, so there's all this, like my deck is completely falling apart. Like you step on it and you'll fall through it, you know? And it's like, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like I can build this thing in like 2 days, you know what I mean? And it's just, I just don't have the time. Time has become so much more valuable than anything else, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I try to book my schedule. So I'm like part-time mom still. So I have 3 work days, and I try to just like book my schedule out with paydays. Yeah. So like who's going to pay me for that day of work? And like that's how my calendar is booked. I try to also always plug in studio time for myself.
That's great.
But I mean, like I said, I do have production going, but it's like I have shows coming up that the work's not made, you know, for yet. So you got to like schedule that in too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what about like, I want to hear more about like your furniture building stuff, because you're using lots of really interesting materials. I've seen you do stuff that's like the live edge pieces. And then when you were walking me through this area, you were mentioning how a lot of the stuff you used is, you know, like leftover materials you had already at your shop. And that just really resonated because, again, where I'm at in my career, it's like I'll get these jobs to make stuff for, you know, like 2D, like I'm doing lots of collage projects right now, and places generously want to pay for materials, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, you can, and like you really don't have to. It's kind of included in my pricing because I already have so much stuff.
Totally.
So are you, do you have like a big backflow?
I do at times, like, so, you know, like when I go to the store, say I need 8 boards, I'll buy 10 boards or something, you know, and then eventually I just have like just kind of some backstock where I've built a lot of my my own furniture, which is stuff that I've learned on. You know, like almost like I usually won't ever build anything for a client that I've never, I guess that's not true. That I've never built before. Like I will
just expect that you might have to start over at some point. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
depending on how it goes.
And I don't tell them that they're the guinea pig. But
naturally.
Yeah. So
same.
But you know, that's the fun part of all of it is like figuring it out. Like I love. Like I think I showed you there was that school in Plymouth that I built that front desk it was a charter school. It was shaped like a pirate ship.
I don't know that I saw this.
Oh yeah, it was like
that's awesome.
And I basically made this like cartoon pirate ship, and I didn't know how to do it, you know. But like, so I looked up like boat building videos on YouTube, but it didn't have to hold water or float. It just had to look like a boat.
That's great.
You know?
So you're just like scrubbing forward in so much of the video.
Yeah, like I don't need this part, don't need this part, don't need this part. And I'm just like kind of gathering little you know, information and that's kind of the, like, I used to say that I'm kind of the guy people call when they don't know who else to call, you know, because I just like to, like, just fuck around and see what happens. And, like, and it's funny because I built this pirate ship boat, and then they opened another school in Marshfield, and I had to make another one.
They did?
Yeah.
That's local to me. I got to go see this thing.
Yeah, so... but now I still had all the same jigs and everything like that. So like I was able to build it in like a quarter of the time, you know?
Cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of neat because it was such a specific thing, you know, and, you know, kind of like this place and, you know, the Knockabout Brewery, I built that place when I first moved back, and that was all leftover. Like they basically like bought a barn and took it apart and threw it in a U-Haul and was like, here's the wood you can use, just kind of figure out what to do. And I just kind of made it up as I went. There was no plan.
Did you take an inventory first?
Not really. I was like, well, this, I don't know, to be honest. It was a while ago. I was like, well, this piece can kind of go here, and this piece, and then now we've got this like rustic kind of tap room.
Yeah.
And it was really cool, so I like that. I like figuring spaces out. I like transforming spaces.
Yeah, you have like an interior design thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've got a decent eye for some of it, and I don't know. I've got very good spatial, like, awareness.
Yes.
Like I know what can fit, like, size-wise in places, and, so.
Good at parallel parking, probably.
Oh, the best, yeah.
Dude, I'm so good at parallel parking. There was some cop that was, like, mad at me because I was, like, pulling into an event.
Because you're too good at parallel parking?
Yeah, well, he was, like, giving me attitude. Oh, ma'am, I didn't see your blinker on, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I just kept smiling and going along. And then on my way out, he saw me going to my car, and he stopped me. He was like, I watched you back into that spot, and I got to say...
Pretty good.
Which it was great, but also he was probably prejudiced against me because I'm like some art lady coming to an arts festival and I don't have my blinker on and I'm asking questions and nope, I crushed it.
Sorry.
I crushed it. Sometimes I'm in Jeff's Tesla and I have notes for the Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla's driving.
For Elon Musk?
Well, the way it's like parallel, sometimes it's just like going, it's like just do it once the right way.
Just do it the right way.
What are we doing? Okay, so on the interior design note, one of the notes I have for myself, which I've brought up to you before, is your amazing organization in your wood shop.
Oh, really?
Dude, okay, well, I went when it was like show
clean.
Ready.
Oh, yeah.
Because we was there for a show.
It is clean right now because my buddy Dan worked for me yesterday and he cleaned the whole place, so that's good.
I mean, the sawdust everywhere.
Yeah.
But, like, the way you have your tools, like, you're, like, making your own racks and stuff like for all your specific tools.
It's kind of controlled chaos. Like, it is, which is kind of, like, everything in my life. Like, everything is, like, kind of, it has its place. And if it doesn't and it's not needed, I usually throw it out.
Oh my God, I need that in my life.
Like, I have no problem throwing it. I have zero, like, nostalgia connection to anything,
That's wonderful. I have a problem.
Yeah. Like, I don't save shit,
Oh, that's great.
But, that being said, I do have a lot of things. Like, I have... Like, you go to my house and there's not a lot of stuff around.
Yeah.
That's because it's all in, like, my wood shop. I got a lot of tools and or it's here now. There's a bunch of my stuff on the walls and, like...
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. This place has been open not so long and it's completely filled. Like, there's, like, the innards of a piano on the wall.
That was in my shop, yeah.
Where did that come from?
That Kathy, well, the thing is, her and I are kind of on the same page with so much stuff.
Yeah.
That, Kathryn Hickey is who I'm talking about, the owner of the Daily Brew. And she dropped off that piano at my shop like 2 years ago or something. And she was like, someday we'll make something cool with this,
Oh, man.
And I was like, yeah, I know we will, And then,
That's
here
great.
we are a couple years later and it's hanging up.
Where'd the mermaid
stage.
come from?
That was in the old place. She has a lot of cool crap like that. Like, there's all sorts of... A lot of this stuff is hers. But then a lot of this stuff, some of it was antiques that were kind of here and tucked in the basement.
Is that Springsteen?
Yep.
On the wall over there? You got to have Springsteen.
That's
someone I think about when I think about you.
Yeah?
Is, like, I feel like when we were hanging out, there was, like, lots of Springsteen playing or something. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually my poster that was hanging up in my shop for, like, years.
It's nice, though. It looks like you have it mounted. It's not just, like,
yeah, it's on a piece of MDF. Yeah.
There you go. Your own custom...
Springsteen poster.
Mounting job on a piece of wood there.
Yeah.
And you have a disco ball.
Yeah. We got a disco ball. We got all sorts of crap.
This place is crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like it because it's kind of controlled chaos. It's like you look around and there's all sorts of cool stuff to look at, but like it doesn't feel like I don't like clutter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just kind of.
There's a fortune teller machine.
Yeah, that was in the old Uncle Bill's store. There's a few things here that were here, just weird old antiques,
gosh.
Like
I'm gonna have to take a bunch of pictures to post with all this.
The basement's got a bunch of weird shit in it too.
This is wild.
And I don't know. There's just a lot of just just kind of cool crap that was kind of gathered. But again, it kind of like is set up in a halfway decent way where, you know, it doesn't look like that up there. That's a bed frame hanging above the, and that's all where all those Christmas lights are, you know. And
cool. That's a good idea. How'd you come up with that idea?
It was there. It was hanging there.
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, oh, cool.
Just put some Christmas lights on this thing.
Yeah.
So what do you envision, like a year from now, that you're going to be having? Liquor license will be in, shows will be booked, people will be coming here on the weekends for shows. During the week, same thing.
Well, I've never envisioned a year from now at any point.
See, this is smart though. Just it's like one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, I'm usually like, I think a few months ahead of time, and there's goals that I'd like, but again, it's kind of I'm open to anything changing, you know.
Cool.
Ideally, I don't know. I want this place to be a community music room where people come to see music, not a bar that has music at it. You know, I want it to be a place where people show up because they know that the caliber of music here is good.
I like that. Highly curated.
Yes, definitely. All by me.
So you must have like a list going in your head or your phone or something of people you're going to want to book.
Yes. And yeah, I definitely do.
You'll probably be connecting with people traveling through the area, people from here.
Yeah, basically from spending so much time in Austin and having a lot of friends in Nashville and a lot of touring musician friends. I've reached out to a lot of people. I'll look at a band I like. I'll see if they have a gap in their schedule. I'll offer them a night, you know, and I'm building a green room downstairs because I'm basically made the place out of all the places I've played all over the country, you know, like I've taken a little bit of every place I like and I'm putting it into this. Like, this is a artist-run venue. By a musician, you know, I know what it's like. Just a little bit of effort towards the artist goes such a long way. You know?
It really does.
Like, if you have a little space where you can just hang out before the show and not have to talk to people and people care that you're there.
Yeah.
You know, like it means so much, you know.
Oh man. Okay. So breaking news. I got booked to paint a mural at Levitate Festival.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Sick.
I'm so excited. But like this, what made me think of it, because I got the invitation letter and that's one of the things I said. There's even like a little like artist area that we can kind of go decompress. I can keep all my paint stuff there the night before and they're paying me, and just the perks, like you said, it doesn't have to be crazy, but I'm like blown away.
It's a little bit of effort, you know.
I'm blown away, and that means, and that's almost like those few little things. Yeah. Might be little for them, like on the grand scheme of the big thing that they're doing there. It's like very small. There's probably like 10 of us. Right. But so it's like we're small peanuts compared to everything else going there. But you're being treated well, you know. And it's almost like buying brain space. Yeah. So now I'm so excited about it and I feel so cared for and respected that I'm like brainstorming more. I'm doing more sketches because I'm excited. And you're going to tell friends. Yeah. And if they ask you back next year, you're going to say, right, you know, of course, you know. It's like, that's the thing. It's like that little bit of stuff, you know, that little bit of caring, little bit of effort, it really goes a long way. Yeah, that's cool that you have space to do a green room here. Yeah, definitely. Because that'll probably bring bigger acts in too. Places people have maybe traveled and like really need a little decompressing time. Definitely. And before heading out. Yeah. So we've got a lot of the acts that are coming through are from out of state, and you know, a lot of stuff is just bands that either I like or somebody close to me likes, or you know, we're not ignoring local people. We've got some great local people coming in, and you know, we're just trying not to be a bar with cover bands. You know, I love it. And not, you know, we're trying to pay our artists what they deserve. Oh my gosh, artists are being paid. Yeah, well, we're trying. Oh boy, and we may go out of business because of it, but we'll see. So, but I mean, even if you're just being transparent about that, like, look, we're paying you this much. Like, this is the cut. This is how we're doing the breakdown. Yeah, just like, if letting them know again, I think people just appreciate an effort.
Definitely. And, you know, I'm a big believer in rising tide raises all boats,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, you know, the better we do, then I want the better, like, the artists to do,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like without them, we're nothing, too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, even in construction, you know, people say you're only as good as your subs, you know, it's like, you know, if I have a really shitty plumber, I could be the greatest GC in the world, but now the house is leaking and it ruins the paint and the carpentry and the electric, you know, so it's like, like treat your guys well, get decent people in there, you know, and it's like, it'll be cheaper in the long run.
Yeah.
You know? And that, I think that's a good thing about both Kathy and I is, you know, we need to make a living, but we're not money driven in the sense of like, there are things we could do with this space where we could make more money, you know? But like, we're like, we care so much more about community and people and we're also like you were saying, it's like, we'll be fine. Like, we'll figure it out, you know?
Yeah, worst case scenario, we'll move on and do something different. But, like, you got to give it a shot in the way you know how.
Even if this place crashes and burns, it's like, it was still wicked fun to, like, build it. And, you know, well, I hope that doesn't happen. Cause
no.
There's some other people who probably...
No, it's
it'd
okay.
be a lot worse for them.
You're keeping your expectations low.
Exactly.
So if you're still here in a year, you're going to be like, oh my God, we didn't crash and burn.
That's kind of the way my whole life is. So it's like every day I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah. See where it goes.
So.
That's great. Well, I'm really excited to come back and hang out and see some music.
Yeah.
Get a coffee, go for a walk on the bike path.
Yeah.
That's going behind.
Right behind. We're in North Falmouth, by the way.
Yeah, North Falmouth.
The Daily Brew Coffee House and Lounge.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else? It has its own Instagram.
Yeah. We got two. We have the Daily Brew one, which is more the restaurant. Then we have the lounge at the Daily Brew, which is going to be the music one.
Okay.
If you go on the website, you'll be able to see our schedule that we just announced today.
Great.
We have a handful of great people. We have Jamie Wyatt coming in September, who is an amazing Nashville country artist.
Great.
I love her, and I reached out to their people, and we made a deal work, which
Fantastic.
I'm like stoked about. And a fortunate thing about me booking this place is that I just made myself the opener, so that's great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so Jamie Wyatt's coming. We've got some great local people like Ward Hayden in the Outliers, who's from your neck of the woods. He kind of does like kind of Hank Williams style country stuff.
Cool.
We've got the Dirty Rotten Vipers from New Orleans. They do New Orleans jazz. They're an 8-piece band who are amazing. They're coming twice.
Really?
One in July and one in August, and they're a ton of fun. We got all sorts of good people.
This is imminent.
Oh yeah, we're doing it. I have the schedule booked like through September.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to air in probably 2 weeks. So we're looking probably like right after the 4th of July.
Oh, that's perfect because our first day with music is July 11th.
That's hilarious because we did not plan this. Like this came together. See, again, we're just planting seeds.
Yeah.
We're just putting things out there, and then things just come together and work out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh man, I'm so excited. And then for your music, what's your Instagram? Greg Loftus?
Greg Loftus Music.
Music.
Yeah, on Instagram.
Great.
And on Spotify. You can find my music everywhere. I just started recording another record.
I saw you were back up at, I didn't even get to talk to you about that.
In at Dirt Floor in Connecticut. A buddy of mine was like, when I turned 40, he's like, did you buy yourself anything for your 40th birthday, like a guitar or something?
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, like I don't really think that way, you know. And then, but that kind of put the seed in my brain. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna book a day at Dirt Floor and just kind of see what happens. And recorded a new song almost in entirety, and that amped me up for doing a new record. So I've got 3 days booked in July, and then I'm gonna see what happens. And
great.
Hopefully, I got a bunch of songs I'm sitting on. So I don't know.
We'll see what happens. I bought myself $500 worth of rocks for my 40th birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I almost did that.
I really did. I got a pallet of rocks delivered.
Really? What kind of rocks?
I did. Like nice flat pavers.
Okay.
Like I'm making garden paths.
I thought you were doing like crystals or something. Or
no.
those crystals.
No,
instead of rocks.
No. I feel like my rocks are superior, even though I'm a crystal girly. But like garden paths.
Yeah, those I think are more
galore.
beneficial than quartz.
I do have little crystals, but I don't need to spend $500 on them.
Yeah, it's
okay. Well, we have dinner plans.
We do.
With Justin and Ray.
Yeah.
We're gonna go eat oysters, and I'm gonna have a martini.
Hell yeah.
And then I'm gonna go home and check on my half-sick babies, and then I'm gonna go make art with little kids tomorrow.
Awesome.
We're making collage fish.
Cool.
And what about you? What are you doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I need to do an install in South Yarmouth. It's not terribly exciting. I get to install some cabinet doors, and then come back here and I don't know.
Just like putter around.
Yeah.
Answer some emails.
Yeah, basically. I got to do a lot of. It's funny. I have like 20 things I need to do tomorrow, but none of them are exciting.
Yeah.
So
I know, but that's part of it. That's part of like where the work ethic thing comes in. Like this whole thing works because you have to have days that are just like
and
grind.
if I can get like 12 of them done, then I'll be happy.
Fantastic.
So,
all right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. This is awesome. It's so easy. Like we've been friends for 20 years, so it's like it's really easy to just do this on mic because it's like this is the conversation we'd be having anyway.
Exactly. Although I think it's really funny that I was driving down here, I'm like, I cannot remember what Greg's college situation was, but once you started saying it, but it's like sometimes I talk to people I've known forever, and I'm like, wait a minute, I
There's
shouldn't.
Like some blank spots.
Like I'm asking you this question for the viewers, not because I forgot. Okay, we're wrapping it.
This is great. Thank you, Beth.
Yeah.